What I can tell you exclusively about Kone is what I've told you a couple of times already with a little bit of extra. Man United do like the player. There's a little bit of reluctance in the board because they prefer prospects, and Kone's 25. I can't say who that is on the board because it's unfair, but there is people who like Kone, and Omar Barada has a very good relationship with Kone's representatives. So we have held talks. I said that on Saturday that we'd held talks, and it's funny how David Ornstein and Romano have confirmed that yesterday. So, you know, obviously that's good information. We said 2 weeks ago, keep an eye on Kone, and now, lo and behold, 2 weeks later, it's coming out. We're not at a point yet where it's going to happen. Kone's still going to be staying in the United States because France have a third place game on Saturday. Talks are still progressing, but even from Kone's side, there is a belief that United are talking to somebody else. So we're not at decision time yet. We are definitely in talks, and that's come out, and that is true. Kone's definitely one to watch, as we said 2 weeks ago, and that is true. I think where we are in the window, it's a good signing. I mean, it's not Tchouaméni, it's not Tonali, and it's not Elliot Anderson, and we're not going to get anybody like that. I don't believe we can get a marquee signing anymore. But in the balance of the midfield we've got, I think Kone offers something very, very different. He's got good ball carrying, he's very good at passing, and he's got a ridiculous engine. So I think he would offer something very different to Santos and Tielemans and Manu. And he's at a reasonable price, and United will like all of those things, and he's at a reasonable wage. So he's definitely a player United like. But there is another player. There is another player, and we will have to wait and see how it plays out. But he's definitely in talks with United, and you know we'll bring you the latest when it develops beyond that. In relation to Camavinga, look, I don't know anything about this. I mean, I'm just literally just going to read this out, and you know, whilst certain people don't credit us for having that information way before anybody else, that's why I don't like the ITK game, because people decide who to credit and who not, and you know, they're out there just claiming information themselves. That's the world we live in. But I don't know anything about Camavinga, so I will give credit to Romano, even if it's not always reciprocal. Camavinga has been mentioned internally alongside Kone. A deal for him will be possible if he decides to leave Real Madrid. United want a defensive midfielder who can run, do the dirty work, and do it with intensity. As well as Manu Kone, Camavinga has been discussed internally at United as they look for a holding midfielder that can cover a lot of ground. The player, however, wants to stay at Real Madrid at the moment. Of course, Romano also said that Man United have spoken to Manu Kone's agent. He's one of the names on their defensive list, which we already know, but obviously some people don't want to believe us, so Romano said that as well. So there you go. It is happening. The deal, I'm not saying the deal's happening, but we are in talks. So look, I think with Camavinga, let's just discuss Camavinga for a moment, because there is definitely a conversation to be had there. As I understand it, Camavinga's still only 23. I think he's 24. Well, he's definitely going to be 24 next year at some point. There's talk about his injury record. Now, I'm just going to do this live now because I've only just popped it up on the screen. So, looking at his so-called injury record, it doesn't really stack up to me. Somebody said he's missed 53 games in the last year or so. Well, he hasn't. He did his knee in November 23 and came back in January 24 and missed 10 games. He did a knee again in August 24 and was back in September and missed 10 games. He did his hamstring in April 25 and was back in July 25. He did his ankle in August 25 and was back in July 25. And then, you know, he had toothache, I think, in March. So he had a knee maybe 2 years ago. He's had a couple of hamstring issues that were pretty much close together in 2025. And then he had a couple of ankle problems around Christmas. So, I mean, look, they're three separate injuries, but I mean, I don't know that it's at a stage where you'd go, that's a problem. Look, you'd run a medical. Medical. I do think with Camavinga there is a bit of an unfair myth that he's really injury prone. I think he's had 3 separate injuries where he wasn't out for ages. The ankle, the hamstring and the knee. He wasn't out for ages. He was out for a couple of months with both. There's no reason why that wouldn't be a reason to sign Camavinga. If he can come through a medical, he's fine. So I think that Anwash, you've just gone and got yourself blocked. What a stupid, stupid thing to do. What a shame. Stupid person. You got.